Hey, PLANTSTRONG family. It is officially soup season, which means it is hot in our house, especially around the stove top, because we love, especially as we head into the weekends, cooking up some sort of a stew or chili or soup. I've been recently making a corn chowder, a sweet potato corn chowder, in fact, using our sweet corn broth as the base. And I'm telling you right now, our family could eat it every day for the rest of 2022. It is that good. In case you guys didn't know it, we have 4 unsalted, organic, no added sugar, no added oil, plant-strong culinary broths that have the best distinct flavors that can elevate each and every one of your favorite recipes. For example, my wife Jill loves using our Spanish-style sofrito broth. It's got all these great aromatics of onions and garlic, roasted peppers as the base for a chili recipe that she's been making. And it really gives like nuance to each and every bowl. So if you guys love broths as much as I do, you can pick up a sampler pack at plantstrongfoods.com today.
I see everything I do as a spiritual practice. So essentially, I want my soul, or whatever it is that animates me, that desire to create, I want it to connect stronger with the computer, which I would consider the computer of a car, which is my mind. And then I basically want to connect the neurons within my mind to the motor units of my muscles. And I want to strengthen the electrical connection throughout my body. So I figure the more control over the motor units of my muscles and my body that I have, that my mind has access to, the more they are electrified, and the more I have feedback from them, the more I will be able to do, and the more I'll be able to set myself free and essentially just create the feeling of a lucid dream. I want to be able to feel what it feels like to fly in a dream, but while I'm awake.
I'm Rip Esselstyn, and welcome to the PLANTSTRONG podcast. The mission at PLANTSTRONG is to further the advancement of all things within the plant-based movement. We advocate for the scientifically proven benefits of plant-based living and envision a world that universally understands, promotes, and prescribes plants as a solution to empowering your health, enhancing your performance, restoring the environment, and becoming better guardians to the animals we share this planet with. We welcome you wherever you are on your PLANTSTRONG journey, and I hope that you enjoy the show. Hey everyone, we have got an absolute doozy of a conversation for you today. This one really to me was one for the record books, because what this guy can do is almost otherworldly. And he does it by fueling himself with plants. He has not only fascinating stories and philosophies on life, love, and nutrition and compassion, but he also thinks in a very unorthodox way that to me I find so incredibly refreshing and compelling and inspirational all at the same time. And everything that this gentleman does, his name is Raymond. And if you want to go see, actually, I insist that you go to either Instagram or TikTok and you put in the Noodnick, Noodnick, and you need to watch some of this artistic calisthenics that he does so you can appreciate it ahead of listening to this conversation. But I can tell you that this was such a breath of fresh air talking with Raymond, and to see somebody that is seeking out love every second of the day. And I really hope that you're going to enjoy this as much as I did. In the meantime, just hang on, hang on to your hats, and get ready to be blown away by Raymond. All right. Hey, Raymond, it's a pleasure to see you, to get to know you a little bit. You're a very unique man with a lot of unique passions. that I really want to dive into today with you.
Excellent.
And
Very excited.
And I love people that aren't following the status quo and follow and blaze their own path. And you have done that in absolute spades. And it's like, it's almost like it's one of your missions in life is to do stuff that very few people do because it just seems to resonate with you. So
yes.
Does that all sound about right?
As best way to describe me as I could ever hope for. I really appreciate it being described that way. Absolutely. Yeah. That's what I live for.
Now, I almost want to say that, so we're going to put some videos of your art form in the show notes. People also feel free to go to TikTok or Instagram, because to me, I don't really want you, the listener, to listen to the conversation that you and I are about to have here for the next hour or so until they can see with their own eyes the art form that you perform in a way. And I could be wrong here, but you tell me, is there anyone on the planet that you know of that does what you do as artistically and as flowingly?
They do it a bit differently than I do. I don't want to say yes or no to that. I do things a bit differently, and I'm not too aware of people who do things the same way that I do.
Right.
I'm in no way the best, but I'm definitely one of a kind, and that I know of, at least in the way that I do these things, and certainly doing them the way that I do them in public.
Yeah. Well, like and you do things that, again, people, you need to go stop right now and go and either go into the show notes or go tell me right now, just so people, where can they go to see you performing this art form?
They could see me on Instagram at the Noodnick, on TikTok at the Noodnick, or on YouTube at the Noodnick. So okay. I make things a bit differently for all three platforms.
Okay. So that's your homework assignment. Go do that right now and then come back in about 5-10 minutes. Okay. So
thank you.
With that being said, I mean, you defy gravity. You do things that I'm watching going, okay, there's got to be ropes or strings that are attached to his ankles, his arms, his neck. I mean, please.
I appreciate that.
No, really. I mean, I cannot even imagine, Raymond, the amount of time and energy and resources and mental fortitude that you've put into becoming just the one of a kind at this craft. What do you call this craft that you do?
I call it calisthenics, but specifically artistic calisthenics. So it's a branch off of body weight exercise. So, anytime you're doing push-ups or for a number of reps or sets, I would consider that a body weight exercise. Calisthenics is once you take body weight exercises to, and focus on art or skill of the movement that you're performing. And then what I do is it's just strictly artistic calisthenics. So I'm just only focused on the flow patterns and the ability to move seamlessly however my mind sees fit, however my soul desires, essentially.
Right. And I mean, how did you decide, all right, Raymond, you know what? This is a pretty cool like passion project that I want to dive into as deep as any human being ever has. Like, what was the lightning bolt that struck you and made that happen?
Well, it all started originally when I was 13 years old. So 27 years ago, I just wanted to climb trees. I've always been obsessed with kind of like experiencing the feel of like a lucid dream in my waking life. So I wanted to just sprint up trees as fast as I could. And I wasn't strong enough yet. So I had to get stronger with pull-ups. And then I went more into that. And then I realized it's kind of people enjoy seeing little party tricks and fun ways where you defy gravity. So that was fun in my teenage years. And then I went into all the general fitness modalities, all the weightlifting modalities, all that. And Then I had a bit of a career in fighting, particularly grappling, and I
What is that?
just
I have no idea what that is.
it's like MMA but without the punching and kicking, because I like my brain and I don't want to get traumatic brain injury. So it's all the strangulations and joint locks and all of that. And I did that, and I always used calisthenics in the background because I enjoyed the body weight strength. I enjoyed the ability to control my body, and it carried over well into my sport. And then when the lockdown happened, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put my stuff out there and focus on that. And luckily, it connected with people, and it worked out well.
So let me go back for a second on grappling. So is grappling a form of wrestling?
Essentially, it's wrestling, but without the objective to pin your opponent, rather than pinning your opponent or holding them on their back. Your objective is to either strangle or apply a joint lock and get your opponent to submit, and the match.
And how do you submit? Do you say uncle?
Yeah, basically, you usually tap. You could do verbal submission if your hands aren't accessible, or you could usually just tap. Generally, it's done as a tap, and the ref will stop it.
All right. So you switch to this. What are we calling it again? Artistic.
Calisthenics. Just calisthenics is fine.
Well, come on, dude. You're underselling it. I mean, to me,
true.
It's like I think we need to call it like let's think of something really cool for.
Cirque du Soleil in public.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. It's like this Cirque du Soleil stuff. So, when did you start doing your Cirque du Soleil stuff?
So I always did it in the background. So for the past 27 years, I did it a lot. I did primarily what I call like the meathead version of it. So just like handstand push-ups, weighted pull-ups, muscle ups, things like that, like pulling myself above and below the bar.
Which is not easy. Which is not easy to do. I mean, I can't do it. I consider myself, a pretty spectacular athlete, and I can't even come close to doing that. I can do pull-ups, but you have to show me the technique.
It's very similar. Like the rings are the best way to understand it. So like rings, people struggle with the technique because rings are so much more technical than say a bar. A bar is more really just explosive strength and dynamic effort. But rings, there's all sorts of things you could do with like proper grips, hooking the rings there, which will shorten the length of your arm, give you a little bit more of a physics advantage. Things like keeping tight elbows. That's why I loved rings, particularly when I was grappling, because grappling was all about separating the elbow from the body and the hollow body position. So it's spinal alignment, what position your spine is in to shorten your body and make you stronger and activate your core more. On a muscle up on the rings, you can bring your elbows very tight during the transition phase, which is difficult when you move from below the rings to above the rings. And by keeping your elbows tight, you'll actually connect the tricep to the lat, and it just makes it a lot easier. Whenever you connect to your body, you create structure, and you're far stronger. So much of what I do is entirely skill based, and I'd love to talk about that more because I'm obsessed with the skill of it. Yeah,
and it seems to me too like you have a sense of like body awareness that is so incredibly honed and precise, and exactly like what's going on. It seems like with every little bone, muscle, in your body, and what are you activating? What are you not activating? When are you pushing? When are you pulling? I mean, it is spectacular to watch. I probably watched 100 of your videos.
Oh my God, I'm so honored. Thank you.
I'm just going, oh my gosh, this guy has such a handle on his body. So is that something that you are like, are you honing that like even now after however many years? Yes,
absolutely. It's an ongoing process. The best way that I describe it is I see what I do. I see everything I do as a spiritual practice. So essentially, I want my soul, or whatever it is that animates me, that desire to create, I want it to connect stronger with the computer, which I would consider the computer of a car, which is my mind. And then I basically want to connect the neurons within my mind to the motor units of my muscles. And I want to strengthen the electrical connection throughout my body. So I figure the more control over the motor units of my muscles and my body that I have, that my mind has access to, the more they are electrified, and the more I have feedback from them, the more I will be able to do, and the more I'll be able to set myself free, and essentially just create the feeling of a lucid dream. I want to be able to feel what it feels like to fly in a dream, but while I'm awake. And it really does, like a lot of the things I do, feel incredibly similar. And one of the greatest things that I ever did to strengthen that mind-body connection was I film everything that I do, and it's not just this incessant need to post on social media or show off the art form. The main reason why I film everything, even the warm-ups, is at all times I'm trying to create a synesthesia effect within me. So what that does is, while I watch what I do, not only do I want to see myself incrementally improving and just looking for just the slightest micro adjustments and studying any little thing that will make me somewhat better, just basically a grain of sand forming the beach is what I'm trying to do when I'm filming myself, is just and believe that the sand is piling up. Because our heads and the way that we narrate our lives and experience our lives, it's not always honest. So I like to see what I'm doing and actually start believing and strengthen the belief in myself. But one of the main reasons why I film what I do and I study my film is so I want to create synesthesia. I want my sight to become tactile feel and physical sensation, and I want physical sensation to become mental sight. So when I'm watching my videos, I'm watching them and I try as hard as I can to innervate and feel everything in my body exactly how it would feel when I'm doing it. And then when I'm doing it, the vision is then recreated in my head. So I know exactly what it's going to look like on camera. I can see my movement patterns just simply from the translation of the feel. And that's not like something special. I had to develop that over time. And really all it comes from is just filming myself and then studying it with the intent to feel it as I'm watching it, and vice versa, and then reverse that feeling so that when I'm doing things, I can then see the movement in my head as I'm performing it.
You used the word twice there, synesthesia. I don't know that word.
It's when senses get cross mingled and confused. So essentially, like hearing colors. If you hear a sound, you'll mentally see a color, or like you could taste like if something you eat gives you a vision. Anytime senses get crossed. So when I use synesthesia, what I'm saying is when I feel something physically, it translates to an image in my head. And what's interesting about it is I actually see it from where the camera is, which I find that kind of interesting just because that's how I learned it. And so basically I want physical sensation to become mental image, and vice versa, mental image to become physical sensation.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, we're going to come back to that. And you kind of lit up when you mentioned skill-based, and you want to dive back into that. But let me ask you this. So in watching your videos and you doing your art form, I am deeply impressed with the body that you have created to allow this art form to exist. Because to me, the two are very much go hand in hand. They're very much intertwined. Yes. Are you like, okay, you're watching your videos, you're watching your body do its thing. Are you going, I'm liking what I'm seeing? Are you like, yes, this is good?
Absolutely. It's that process of seeing myself change, believe. I just want to see myself and believe in myself. Because I guess maybe we all are, but I'm certainly inherently negative towards myself. And it washes away all that negativity. It washes away that self-critical voice. I shouldn't say self-critical, because it is good to be self-critical, but that dishonest self-critique that we give ourselves, and that I certainly gave myself. So yeah, absolutely. It's seeing is believing, and it's seeing that again, it all boils down to a grain of sand forming this beautiful paradise beach that I'm hoping to continue forever going towards.
Yeah. Let everybody know, like, how tall are you? What's your weight? What does that look like?
So I'm 6'2". I'm 40 years old, and I weigh 165 pounds.
165.
Yes.
And so have you been 165 for the last 10 years, or have you become even leaner?
So right before, I guess around my 30s, I was doing a lot of heavy weightlifting. Like right around when I turned 30, I wanted to be as big as possible. I was 230 at the time, but Not
230.
like, yeah, it was a
Yeah.
lot. It was a lot of muscle. Not as like a 4-pack. Not the greatest. It was a little sloppy because, none of those special supplements. But yeah, I can. It takes a lot. So I only eat once a day, as well as being vegan, and I just want to stay as lean as possible and just have not only just to look a certain way, but I mean, a part of me also believes that fat tissue is hormonal, and I just don't want anything negatively impacting me. I don't want any negative hormonal influence. I don't want negative gut influence from, I don't want my microbiome to be negatively influenced by the foods I eat. I want to be clean. And also so I always work out fasted. I always do these things fasted. I don't want anything interfering with the process. I just want to be clean and have nothing, as little on me as possible, and nothing in me.
Yeah. Well, okay. So you said a couple things there that we need to talk about.
Sure.
One, you mentioned that you are vegan.
Yes.
I'd like to know, like, in your opinion, like, what does that look like? And then also you mentioned that you eat one meal a day. That's also
Yes.
pretty unique and in keeping with you and, your personality being just a unique guy that does his own thing. But before we touch upon that, I want to dive a little bit more.
Sure.
So, tell me a little bit about, like, so in looking at a lot of your videos, I noticed that you go through different transformations or looks, like your hair. Tell me, your hair changes, like, it seems like every other month. So is that just something to, because that's a fun thing to do, or what's going on with your hairdo?
I cut my own hair. It's that I've always had a lot of different hairstyles throughout my life.
What are you doing now? What are you doing with it right now?
I got the long bun ponytail in the back.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, so yeah, it's just long hair. It's about like mid chest length. Just been growing it out now for a while. I'll probably keep this for a very long time. I love having long hair. So
yeah. Very, very cool. So you do all this Cirque du Soleil gymnastics. Do you also do any cardio? Do you feel like that's an important part of what you do, or not?
I haven't done any cardio since I can say the last time I did cardio. It was on my birthday in 2020. It was the last time I taught grappling in a fight gym. So that was the last time I did cardio. It was coming up 3 years ago, pretty soon.
So it did probably, I would imagine with what you're doing and the number of reps and sets and the way you work out, that it's probably a pretty darn good cardio workout.
It works. And I should mention, I don't do any reps, any sets. It's always just trying to put together as many skills as possible. No flexibility, no stretching, no warm up, no nothing. It's just exactly what you see is exactly what I do.
Now, hold on. Because I have seen you do this thing where you go into the splits and you touch the floor with your different arms and elbows. So that to me is a form of flexibility that you work on.
It is so I'll do that at the end of my workouts. I'll do some mobility flow and really all I'm doing is I'm just practicing movement patterns, and I'm just trying to, when I can't move through the air anymore, I'm just trying to move seamlessly in the ground. And also because I'm too lazy to do legs and I kind of have chicken legs. So I just want them to be strong and be able to move wherever I want them to move, as opposed to looking a certain way.
Well, I am incredibly impressed with your flexibility.
Thank you.
It's really interesting that you don't necessarily do any
stretching.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. Exactly what you see on my social media is exactly what I do.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
Thank you.
You have a lot of really interesting life philosophies.
Yes.
And that's another thing I want to intertwine in this interview, along with, what you do and why you do it and how you do it and, how it's all skill-based, but also some of your life philosophies. So let me just throw out one.
Sure.
And then you kind of go off on a little diatribe.
Sure.
So let's start with chasing love.
Oh, yes. Yes. So my definition of love is the dissolution of time. Whatever makes time go away. It's the opposite of fear, because when I'm fearful or in an adrenalized state, a second will feel like an hour. I want the opposite. I want an hour to feel like a second. I want to be around people I love. I want to be doing what I love all the time. And I just want to be focusing on things that make time. I want my life to go by as fast as possible, essentially, because that means I'm doing a lot of what I love and I'm around people I love. So that's really my philosophy, is just the dissolution of time. Be around people that make time go away, do things that make time go away.
And so do you try and make that happen on a daily basis? And I would imagine it happens when you're doing your Cirque du Soleil, gymnastics flow set. But have you been able to have that ripple into other aspects of your life?
Into everything. Yes.
Really? Give me an example. Yeah. How?
Even if I'm doing a mundane task that I don't want to be doing, there's always the mental freedom. So if I can't be physically free and doing things, I'll always try to be mentally focused on something that I love, something that passes time in a productive way that's better, that I feel like I'm enriching my life and just doing my purpose. I only try to be around people that I absolutely adore. I'm not very social. I stay around people I love only. I just try to eat things I love, be kind, just do things loving.
Well, I know that in one of the videos I watched, one of the 100 plus,
Thank you.
You mentioned how, you're not a very social guy, and you love hanging around your mother and your son. Right.
Yeah,
hang you're like, man, I just dig it. I love it. And I think that's so cool. I mean, I love being around my family, my mom, my dad, and all that. But that's cool. So are you not married? You single right now?
I have a girlfriend, so I'll spend time with her as well. I love being around her. Not married. No, I even live with my family now. So I lived away from them for a long time. And then I realized, I thought about it. I was like, if I stay on this schedule, I might only talk to my mom and see my mom 100 times more in my life. So right. I live with my mom, my sister. I live with my family. I'm very blessed. I get to live with everyone I love.
Wow. And where do you live?
In Long Island. So I live in Long Island, New York.
You like New York?
I'd like to be somewhere warmer. I don't do very, very well in the winter, so I love it in the summer. I'm halfway between Manhattan and the Hamptons, so it's beautiful, beautiful beaches. It's a good place.
Yeah.
I'd like to be somewhere warmer, though.
Yeah. I don't sense maybe like a typical New York accent.
No. Everyone thinks I'm from California.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
All right. So when you are working out the way you work out, or flowing, or meditating, whatever let's call it flow state. I look at you and what you're doing, and I'm like, ouch. Like my shoulder wants to go out on me, or I'm getting a strain in my neck, or I get a little tear in one of my abs. Right. So what do you do to prevent injury, or if you get injured, what do you do to heal?
I essentially accept injury. It's a part of it. Luckily, from grappling, it's not nearly as bad as grappling was. Grappling was just a litany of endless amounts of injuries because people are attacking your joints. So I have tons of existing injuries from that. But yeah, certain things are bad. Like for instance, my left hand from all the one-arm handstands, I haven't felt my pinky essentially in 2 years, and it just doesn't matter. I think loving what you do and being obsessed with it in a sense is a limitless drug. So it just gives you abilities to persevere through things. Like I'm in pain, but I just don't care. Like to me, when I'm in pain, it just means that I've been able to do what I love and that I'm still going. So I mean, I also work out 7 days a week, and do you have an average time that you work out, or does it just depend upon how your mood is that day? However long my body will allow me that day. So
Wow.
every day that I do something, I want to do something I've never done before. So it's always my job to figure out a way to do something I've never done before. Today I was holding a one-arm handstand and throwing and catching a 10-pound dumbbell while holding the one-arm handstand. just for some fun stuff with my bros, just to do some challenges. But that was fun. So I never did that before today. Tried it and took me a lot of tries, and I finally got it. So
Incredible.
whatever I can do for the day. So I didn't have the endurance to do like complex flows that day, but I had some meathead strength, so I was able to mess around that way. Whatever my
Yeah.
body will allow, I'm just grateful for, and I'll do.
Now, where do you do most of your workouts? Are you a member of a gym, or do you have a private place you go?
Yes, Lifetime Fitness, occasionally friends' gyms, but not as much anymore. And then in the summer, I'm just anywhere I can be outside. I'll just find places I love outside. For what I do, especially for human flag stuff, playgrounds, so I'll look for empty playgrounds where there's never any people around or anything like that. So I could just, I try to be cautious of putting people in my videos, and I don't want to be. So playgrounds are great. They have great workout equipment if you can find one that's doesn't have a lot of people around, or just anywhere beautiful. And unfortunately, when it's cold out, I'm a wimp in anything under 70 Fahrenheit. So if it's under 70, I'm inside, and I'll usually be at Lifetime.
Well, that's what happens when you got 3% body fat.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I don't know if it's down there though, and I get cold. I get really cold.
Now,
My fingers go numb at like 65.
Now, I can't even tell you how cool I think it would be to be Raymond for a day and to be able to do what you do. Go into one of these gyms and knock, one of these one-armed handstands out where I'm, doing my feet and all kinds of weird, stepping positions. And then people come up to me and they go, "Oh my God." I mean, what kind of comments do you get from people?
It really runs all over the place. It's always very positive. Always a lot of respect. So I'm really grateful. People are very kind and gracious to me. And then I do it a lot, and it's kind of like the magician doing the trick over and over again. I think I just like annoy people with my antics doing that a little. I don't even know, but yeah, people are very loving and very very kind.
I mean, do you ever have anybody come up to you and say, "Hey, can you teach me how to do like a particular move?"
I'll usually, if somebody asks me, I'll usually spend like even an hour, 2 hours, invite them to work out with me, whatever. I like it. My Instagram originally was all just giving away tutorials and trying to teach people. If I can help anyone kind of transcend where they're at and do stuff that they didn't think was possible, I'm just endlessly gracious. So, no money, no anything. I guess I'm just a crazy hippie who wants to spread any type of greatness that I can to people.
Well, it's a beautiful thing. So one of your life philosophies is to make it challenging. And I think that you've succeeded in that one.
Thank you. Yes.
But why, where did that birth from? Why are you so enamored with making something challenging? What's wrong, Raymond, with taking the easy way?
I mean, if it's complex, it's worth doing. I don't know. Just there's something beautiful about unfolding or putting together a complex puzzle, doing something that's incredibly challenging, doing anything that you think is impossible at first, and then figuring it out and then making it easy eventually. And then once it becomes easy, making it your own, and then just exploring all the possibilities that you can explore. Because everything's essentially just a human system. So if I really want to enjoy the most out of my humanity, I have to at least look for the most complex of human systems to try give my time to. So that's basically it.
You certainly have. Wow. Yeah.
Thank you.
And just, I wrote down in one of the 100 plus videos I watched, you basically said, hell, in your opinion, hell is getting everything that you want in this world without working for it or earning it.
Yes. So I'll go into that. All right. So my take on it is, God or whatever I feel called to, whatever is calling me to do the things, I believe that I know it's going to be difficult. I know anything that I want is going to be incredible sacrifice, but I believe that at least my God gives me the strength to endure what I'm here to do, and the things that will matter to me, and the things that will bring me my version of heaven while I'm alive. And I view the devil as like the devil's bargain is it just gives you things that you fear you need. So I don't believe in free will. I believe I'm here to do whatever makes time go away from me, and then just go as deep into it as I possibly can. Whatever I feel called to do, I feel that's what I'm here to do. And I feel when I used to think I was in control and try to do things because I thought I needed to do them, or I thought it would make me cool, or this, that, the other thing. Really, it would just always blow up in my face, because yeah, I'd get the result in the beginning, but then the result would never turn out to be what I wanted. It's the classic devil's bargain where I don't want that. I mean, my worst nightmare would be to, like, if heaven was real, it would be horrible. I would like. Love matters because I can lose my loved ones. That vulnerability is what matters most. I want the vulnerability. So like appearing in like some magical place where no one ever dies and you have everything you want, that's my definition of hell. There's no vulnerability anymore. Like where's the love? Where's the where's the purpose? It's like playing a game, like playing a video game on cheat mode where you can't lose, there's no fun in that.
Well, you again, in one of your videos, you mentioned like, is this heaven? Is this heaven like now? Is this the afterlife? Because this is kind of what I would like.
Yeah. I mean, I have people I absolutely adore. I do what I love. And there's of course consequences to my actions. There's incredible difficulties I'll go through, but that's beautiful. Like getting through those difficult times, getting through these things. When I am injured, it'll force me to work on something that maybe I've been neglecting. Maybe find something that I never would have looked at. I don't see things as good and bad. I just see them as they're just things. They're all gifts. They're all meant to be experienced. So I enjoy.
So when you look at I'm going all over the map here because this is just like, so I find you to be an absolutely fascinating human being.
I'm truly honored. Thank you.
So when you look at your body, do you find that there's a part of your body that is a weakness that you're trying to strengthen?
My elbows are so damaged from my grappling career, from all the armbar pops, and my knees. I have torn meniscuses in both my knees. Everything. There's no part of my body that because I use my body as a unit. So everything from neck to when I'm in handstand doing one arm balances and stuff like that, people always ask like, what are you mostly using in balance? Little flaps of the ankles and trying to curl my big toe under, like down to the toes. Everything has to be engaged.
No, it is incredible. Again, I'm going to come back to the body awareness that you have when you're doing your flags, when you're doing your one arms. I mean,
thank you.
It is absolutely, and I use this word with the greatest amount of respect, it is sickening.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
All right, we'll circle back to this. So
Sure.
you mentioned that you do you like to say you're plant-based, you're vegan? How do you identify?
I don't really know how to identify. Like plant-based, vegan. I don't even view it as a diet necessarily. I view it as a commandment from my God. I'm not allowed to eat I'm not allowed to eat animals. I'm not allowed to eat suffering. I don't want anything in my microbiome. I don't want species in my microbiome causing me to do things that I disagree with. I just don't want to consume anything that died. I don't want to consume any sentient being that died. And I don't want anything within me that craves that. I don't want my microbiome releasing toxins and neurotransmitters craving those things. So to me, I don't even see it as a diet. So whatever people want to identify me as, I'm fine with.
Right. All right. So I'm going to identify you as Plant Strong because I like
Strong. So I like that better, honestly.
Okay.
It's a better version.
So you're a Plant Strong man. And so what is that like when you're going to, what time is it where you are right now? Is it about 4?
It's 4:00 in the afternoon.
Okay.
Yes.
So Have you eaten yet today?
No.
Okay. So when you decide to eat, do you know what you're going to eat, or are you going to go into the kitchen and whip something up? And what does that look like?
I'm going to go into the kitchen and whip something up. Normally, as I said, I live with my family. My mom and my sister are culinary wizards, so usually I'm very lucky.
That's why you moved in with them.
I'm very, very. I just adore them. But yeah, it is a beautiful perk, and my mom is an absolute genius. We should definitely talk about her later. She's got a beautiful garden. Most of the food is homegrown. While they're away, I'm just going to be making myself some food. So as much as I could eat, primarily carbohydrates.
Yeah,
I'd say I mainly only focus on carbohydrates. Probably just a little bit of protein.
Yeah,
Fats, whatever, but carbohydrates are my main focus. I'll probably eat about like 80% or more carbohydrates.
well, it's perfect. I mean, 80% carb, maybe 10% fat, 10% protein. That's perfect.
Like if I eat 60, 80 grams of protein a day, I'm lucky. So like I have a lot of younger meathead friends, and they think it's wild how little protein I eat.
Well, and again, for people, if you haven't gone and watched any of his videos, you have not been behaving.
Thank you, Rip.
But you'll see how absolutely shredded Raymond is. I mean, his biceps, his 18-pack, the list goes on and on and on. So, you're obviously, you work out as hard as anyone on the planet, and you're getting all the protein and all the nutrients you need to basically recover and repair yourself. So that's pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, I mean, I feel, again, 7 days a week. I'm 40 years old, so you can just keep going. I mean, it just you will repair. We need amino acids. We get plenty of it.
Yep.
I guess really though, what it boils down to is you should really just eat however you feel most vibrant and most alive. And I feel most alive this way. So I don't worry about my nutritional content. I eat the way that will make me feel most alive, and I just assume it's doing its best for me. I assume it's doing its job. Yeah.
What about, so are you enamored with fruits or vegetables? I know you say it's carbohydrate, but like, can we dial in a little bit? Like, are you a huge fan of bananas, or like, kiwis or grapefruits? Or
kiwis, the only food on the planet I'm allergic to. I do love them though, but I can't eat them.
What happens? Your tongue swell up?
No, it's the weirdest thing. I feel like I have this metallic secretion coming from behind my molars. It's not even that big of a deal, but I basically just sit there like,
okay. Yeah.
It's just really awkward and terrible. But yeah, I mean, pretty much anything that isn't eggplant or portobello mushrooms, I kind of enjoy. I hate all the vegan staples, that's pretty much, I love everything. Pretty much everything.
You know what? It's so funny you mentioned those two things, and anybody that is a longtime listener of the Plant Strong podcast knows I cannot stand eggplant.
Hate it.
Have yet to meet an eggplant that I like.
1,000,000%. I hate, and the fact that people used to try pass off like eggplants and portobello mushrooms as like a steak sandwich or a hamburger. It's like, this is why people are mad at you. What are you doing? This is not even food. This is disgusting.
Yeah, exactly. And then portobello mushrooms in general, they have to be prepared just right. Yes. Meaning like on the grill, all the water like just like sucked dry.
Yes.
Like Derek Sarno. I don't know if you know Derek Sarno. He's just a master, world-class plant-based chef, and he does a number where he'll put his mushrooms in a cast iron skillet, and then put another cast iron skillet on top.
That's
and
smart.
Just press the dickens out of that thing.
That's smart. Yeah. Now that I love, like shiitakes, I love most of them, but portobello mushrooms are just these big, soaking wet, awful. They're awful.
No.
Everything about them's awful.
Yes, but I will say I've had portobellos that when you wring them dry and you put the right seasoning on them, they can work. I've
had portobello jerky. Portobello jerky was delightful, and I was like, okay, I've eaten my words. Delicious, but prepared portobello is just I've yet to experience.
What about beans and grains?
Yes, I eat a ton of beans, grains, everything grain-wise. Rices, pastas, breads, anything I can get grain-wise, cereals, anything. Beans, I love beans. Anything bean-related. Beans are fantastic. My main staples are tofu, seitan, and beans.
All right. I'm gonna send you a bunch of cereal, Rips Big Bowl cereal.
Oh my God! Thank you. Oh my God!
Yeah.
So thank you.
We'll knock
I
your
would love
socks
that.
off with.
I would love that.
Oh yeah. Well, you have to let me know what you think.
Absolutely.
What about tofu? Because I know with your mother, there's a little bit of a connection there with
Yes.
a tofu. You like tofu?
I've been eating tofu since the day I was born. My uncle Robert Bergwell, he started Nasoya back in the 70s. My mom was making tofu ice cream, tofu cheesecake, tofu mayonnaise, all the tofu things before there was even tofu in the supermarkets. Like back then, you could only go to you go to Asian districts, like you could go to Chinatown in Manhattan and get buckets of bean curd. But the modern tofu, the way it exists now, it's crazy. It's just I grew up on this. Tofu has been my life since the day I was born.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite way of preparing tofu?
Absolutely, the way my mom makes it. It's just a mixture of soy sauce, Dijon mustard, and just pan fry it till it's crispy, like thin pan fried. It's delicious.
I mean, Nasoya is probably one of the best known and number one tofu brands. Yes. I don't know about the world, but at least the United States.
Yes. Yeah. So my mom was the one who got it into all the stores on the East Coast back in the very early 80s before I was born. She was going to food demos and everything with me in her stomach. So I was on that journey inside my mother.
Wow. So that obviously influenced you as far as, how you eat. Did you ever eat animal products, or have you been?
Yeah, unfortunately, I did. We ate very, very normal in a sense that we did eat, like, chicken. We didn't eat very much red meat or anything like that. But then there would be a lot of seaweeds, a lot of unique health foods, especially health foods at the time, because this was the early 80s. Back then, I was growing up. I was born in 82, so all of the early 80s, I was eating these foods that really didn't become like mainstream even knowledge until I guess the later 90s, where it started like catching on more popularity.
Yeah. Well, when did you take the full dive into like no animal, no dairy?
So I always knew that I was wrong, but I was just that conventional wisdom. I was trapped in the thinking paradigms of the time. And then when I was my early 20s, I started exploring vegetarianism. So I was like on and off with vegetarianism from like late teens into about 13 years with breaks in between. And basically eggs would always make me fall off the wagon because I always really loved eggs. And I just didn't want to eat animals anymore. And then as I'd eat eggs, it would become a slippery slope where I'd make more, then I'd be like, oh, maybe I'll put some milk in my coffee. And then like, oh, maybe I'll get an egg sandwich and there'd be cheese on them, whatever. And then eventually like accidentally someone will put bacon on it or something. I'd be like, oh, I accidentally ate it. And then it'd fall off. So
yeah, go ahead.
Then it was 8 years ago where I was just like, I don't ever want an animal in my body ever again. So the only way to do this is just to never eat an egg ever again. So
what was it about eggs that you adored?
I like them. I just like how they taste, and that's it.
Yeah. It's so funny because to me, eggs are right up there with eggplant.
Really? Oh, you don't like it? Yeah. So
no,
I have chickens. We have chickens, and they lay these beautiful. And I'm just like, can't touch them. Can't even look at them.
How did you like your eggs when you ate them?
Fried, just fried. No runny yolks. I think runny yolks are disgusting. Just fried over hard, I guess you call it. I don't know the egg lingo.
Yeah.
I don't speak egg anymore.
I don't either. So one of the things I noticed in watching a lot of your videos is you got a very eclectic taste in music. Tell me about your music.
I go all over the place with it. So I have a very eclectic taste in music, and sometimes I'll post things that are for me, but sometimes I'll just do things that I think will do better in a video. I hate when I fall into that what is popular or what might work better in an algorithm trap. But I usually try to find things that I think works well with the music. What's interesting about that is I never have any music playing when I'm doing the things that I do. Wow. So what I've had to do to make things match up really well with songs over time is I kind of had to develop a metronome in my head and tempo my music, my movements. And I I know based on like whatever movement tempo I'm working on in my set, and as long as I flow to a specific time sequence, that I could always match it up, and I'll know exactly which song to use for it. So a lot of times, whatever I feel like displaying, will select the music that I'll then eventually use.
Do you think one of the reasons that you don't have music when you're working out is because you're having, well, it helps you be more in that flow state and it's a distraction?
No, I think the music would actually help me. Like sometimes if I'm in a gym and there's a class going on, there'll be some music. I'm like, oh, this is good. I could do better. And I actually have something to flow to, and then I'll automatically know the beat pattern or something when I upload and choose a different song. But it really just boils down to I'm using my phone to film myself. So
right.
Just I don't have anything to listen to music on.
No, like, you get one of those little, Bluetooth speakers in your set.
Yeah, it's still got to play off my phone, and my phone is, filming my. It's too much effort. I don't care enough.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm lazy.
No, well, maybe in some aspects of your life you are.
Yeah,
it is funny. And I know you don't ever do reps, but like, tell me this: if I was to say, Raymond, I got $100 bill here that says you can't do 50 pull-ups, would I lose that $100 bill to you?
No, you'd keep that $100 bill.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't do 50 pull-ups in one set. Like the last time I did a set, I did 30 like 4 years ago. There's no way I'd be able to do 50, and also clean. I'm not talking like these pull-ups that you see guys doing in the gym, like, full range of motion. 0% chance I'd do 50.
Wow. Well, because to me, I watch you like do where you go over the bar and up, and I see you rattle off like 8 of those, like it was like you were like a feather.
It's just so different. It's so different. It really is very different. And also, if I'm moving quickly, or there's so many different ways to make something seem more eye-popping than people realize it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to cheat reality.
Yeah. So you're going to have that one meal here in a couple hours.
Yeah.
Do you just eat until you're comfortably full, really full? Because it's got to last you for like 24 hours.
I eat until I feel like I'm about to die. Like I really eat to the point where I don't want to eat again for 24 hours. Then I have a 2-hour window after I eat where I'm just like, I feel like I have no energy. I just literally feel horrible. And then I go back to feeling amazing about 2 hours later.
Wow. So during the day, before you have your last meal before you die,
literally.
What do you experience much in the way of like hunger pangs? Or,
no, not at all.
Not at all. That's just something that doesn't really. No.
Not at all. I'll have some black coffee, tea, water, seltzer, stuff like that.
Are you drinking water? Are you drinking water during the day?
Water.
Yeah.
Yeah, water. Just black coffee, tea, nothing with calories in it. But no hunger pangs whatsoever. Okay.
It's interesting because, again, in one of the videos I saw, you mentioned how you want to eat yourself up.
Yes.
You want your body to basically go into this state where it like kind of you just eat yourself. You eat all your proteins, you eat all your fats, you eat all your muscles up. I thought it was a very wild thought.
Yeah, so it's part of my philosophy. Everything with the life cycle of birth, life, death, rebirth. That's how I want my day to go. That's how I view my nutritional process. I just want to, during the day, I want to consume myself. I want to be in a catabolic state. I want to be eating my fats. I want to be eating my proteins from myself. I want to consume what is left of me, consume my old form, and then be born anew. At the end of the day, before I go to sleep is when I'll consume my building blocks. I don't see food as fuel whatsoever. I see it as building blocks, and that's why I eat it at the end of the day. So then while I'm sleeping, my body can utilize it and just rebuild me. I want every day to just go through that life cycle and then be born anew the next day in as much of a new form as possible. I just want to consume as much of my old self as possible. Very, very much the same way with the things I've done in my life. I kind of want to replace the person who I was before those things, and as those things become me, become something new and something different, and do things that I didn't enter adulthood as. Just think differently. Just keep evolving as a person. And I want to eat myself. And that, I mean, a lot of it's too, I also want to trigger autophagy through the fasting, and try to kill off as much of me as possible, to then rebuild as much of myself as possible the following day and become something else.
Yeah. So you just used the word autophagy. Will you explain what that is to people that don't know that word?
So there's little things called autophages in our bodies that when we're in a fasted state, particularly when they're in a fasted state, other things, they will go around and just kill damaged cells. So they'll go and destroy damage within your body. So fasting that's what I do for nutrition and for health. So fasting is the performance hack that I've always wanted my whole life. It's the most profound thing I've ever done. And autophagy is a beautiful benefit for just overall health. At least, that's the placebo in my head when I'm telling myself, and it seems to work that way. And it's a beautiful thing.
How long have you been doing the one meal kind of fasting?
A little less than veganism. So I just did it intuitively when I was in my teen years, just in the summer, just to look good. And but then as I was in my 30s, and maybe like a year or so after I went vegan, I was like, I gotta bring the fasting back. That was very profound, and it just something was telling that the internal voice was saying, bring back the fasting, and then it was just life just got so much better and easier. Sure, there's a misery, like that the hunger pangs. That's really just your stomach clearing out. So it took 2 weeks to a month or so to get used to the hunger pangs, and just my stomach to realize, oh, it's okay. You're just empty. Like, it's not like you need fuel. It's just your stomach's empty. You literally got through step 1 of digestion. You're good to go. So like my fear went away from that, and then just got used to that, and then it went away quickly. And so that was basically the process. Maybe like a year or so after going vegan.
Do you consider yourself a vain person?
Yes and no. Somewhat. Like I would consider myself vain in that I'm very happy with my appearance. I love how I look. I wouldn't want to trade places with anyone. I just want to be exactly who I am. But I wouldn't say that I'm vain in that it's not the purpose of why I do the things that I do. So I've done bodybuilding and stuff like that before, or working out with a purpose of looking a certain way. And I find that kind of like a bottomless pit, like you're crawling around an abyss forever looking for some little bit of sunlight entering. Because no matter what, if you're just going to like for hypertrophy, to build muscle or to lose fat or just look a certain way, you could always look better. You could always be bigger. You could always just look better. So there's really no vanity in what I'm doing. But in order for me to do the things I love, it does have a nice side effect of good aesthetics. I mean, I can't be that vain. I mean, I shave a bathroom mullet. Like, but I have chicken legs. But I like how I look. So vain in that I'm very happy with how I look, but not vain in that it's not my focus. It's just a beautiful side effect that I'm very grateful for.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, and it may be an odd question considering that, you feel like you're in heaven and, you love everything, but would you say you're a happy person?
Yes. And again, like all things I go through, I don't believe in emotions necessarily as anything other than the release of neurochemicals in your head and just trying to understand the chemistry of what's going on inside of me. So I'm much happier and I'm much more even keeled, but of course I've gone through negativity. I've gone through depression, but I don't necessarily, that also makes me happy when I'm going through something bad or I'm going through hell in my life, because I see heaven as the other side of crawling through hell. So while it might not be pleasant for me, I see it as a beautiful opportunity to then be more of what I want to be and get to a place where I am happy. But happiness also isn't good, because then there's just that you get jaded by it, or I get jaded by it. And so I want that cycle. I want the highs, I want the lows, highs, lows. And I'm happy that I'm alive and experiencing them. And I'm very happy that I see them from a place not of like, oh, why is this happening to me? But like, yes, this is happening to me. Now I get to have fun and conquer this and do this.
I think you're I'm really impressed at how masterful you are
Thank you.
at articulating these, I think, very kind of just deep emotions that we as human beings kind of go through. But I don't think many of us give it enough thought to really be able to explain it in a way that you have on a myriad number of different topics here today. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure same with you. It's a learned skill, communication, speaking. I'm sure you've gotten so much better over your beautiful career, and I've practiced. And it's really all I focus on. So these are all the things I think about all the time. So
yeah.
And I don't have a TV, so there's that. So I don't have a TV, so I could just study the TV in my head.
So if you don't, I find that to be really remarkable. You don't have a TV. Is that because you don't have a TV, or there's no TV in the house that you're in right now?
Oh no, there's TV. I don't have a TV because I think it's mental poison, and I don't want to be programmed. I don't want to watch others succeeding. I want to see the people I love and the people I care about. I love watching others succeeding, but I don't want to see it in this fake Hollywood way. I don't want the news entering my mind. I don't want people's spins on things. I want my life to be my own and my thoughts to be my own. I don't want to watch a Hollywood movie or something with their CGI effects and all the nonsense of people pretending to be others. I want to watch my life and the people I care about going through that journey, that rise to power, that ascension process. I want to watch that in real time. I want to see things without the special effects. I want to do things without the special effects. I want to formulate my own opinions, my own judgments on things, and not just have some talking head trying to convince me of complex world issues in about 30 seconds.
So you haven't seen Avatar?
I have seen Avatar. I stopped watching TV about 6 years ago, so I've seen Avatar.
Gotcha. So you didn't see the Giants play this last weekend?
No, God, no. Even as an athlete, I don't watch sports. I've never watched sports. Even when I can't watch the sports that I do. I play sports, but I can't watch them.
Right. But so does that mean that do you have a computer? Do you ever watch YouTube or anything like that?
Yeah. I like watching individuals. So I do like hearing individuals' thoughts. I love the interactive aspect to it too. I don't like people being placed on pedestals. I like approachability. I like that, if I could do things on social media, and if I respect someone, I can connect with them. And also often there's like that mutual respect, and have honest conversations. We'll learn from people that I respect rather than people who are just placed in front of you, and then they try to lure you into respecting them or looking up to them. The fake, all the glitz and the glamour, truly the definition of the word glamour, that fake, that fake seduction that is going on within our minds that they're luring us in with. Mm-hmm. I don't like that. So I do like independently produced things. I like things directly from a human being.
Yeah.
With nothing, no middleman, no Hollywood puppet masters, none of that.
So your nickname is the Noodnick, right?
Yes.
What in the world does that mean, and why have you taken that on?
Okay, so it is a misspelling of the Yiddish term Noodnik, which means boring pest, and it's kind of like an inside joke that I like to play on people, where I think I'm a boring pest. I talk about like consciousness and calisthenics, and this is what I obsess about. Like, I can't talk to people about like what's going on in culture or like the Kardashians or whatever. So I'm a boring pest. I'm the guy who's, if I see someone doing like a calisthenic exercise, I'm gonna go up to them and talk to them, and I think this is, it's a joke about exactly who you see here. And also I figured it would be funny, and people would think like the Nick calisthenics, they would think that. And then it's also great because people think my name is Nick, and I like having an alias and being separated from who I really am. That's
awesome. Let me ask you this. If you had to be any bagel, what bagel would you be?
Everything bagel.
Now, just for context here, you've got, I think it might be a TikTok video where you're there, and I think somebody else's voice says something like, "Well, you know it better than I do."
Which one?
It's a video, and it's just like, if you had to be a bagel, what bagel would you be? Something like that.
Oh, yeah. That was just some trend that was going around, and I
Okay,
was just
okay.
like, I thought it was funny because I got probably the worst thing I could have got. So I was like, okay, there we go, share
Well,
it.
well, I like it.
But yeah, it would definitely be an everything bagel.
Very, very cool. Do you have any mentors, or do you not believe in mentors?
I wish I did, but no, I've always been self-taught at everything I do. But what I do have is I have people who inspire me, and who just I have people who I'm inspired by, and that I love and I look up to. For instance, like one of my good friends on social media is Z Black Turbo. We do very different things, but he inspires me because he works out every day. We have very similar mindset. We're very open and engaging with people. So I have people who inspire me greatly, and that's what I look for. And I really try to befriend my heroes and my inspirations and try to let them know what they mean to me. And but yeah, unfortunately, I wish I had teachers, but then again, I also don't, because I don't have mentors, and I get to figure it out for myself, and I guess be exactly who I am instead of being in someone else's shadow. I guess I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I guess it's a double-edged sword not to have mentors.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm looking at you, and I'm seeing you're wearing a necklace. It looks pretty
Yes.
kind of unique. What can you tell me about that?
The only thing that's necessarily special to me is this was my grandma's feather. This is like three different chains from, I guess, the 1800s. They're just brass chains. And these are just little trinkets that the mother of my son got while she was going around the world. She's she's a well-known jewelry designer, and she specializes in antique charms and things like that. So it's just a cool, unique
Yeah.
piece that, it's basically not worth anything, but there's nothing else that anyone has like it. So
Yeah.
it's just special to me. And
Yeah. Tell me this. I notice when you're working out, you wear really comfortable clothing. Like what do you like in the way of shoes, socks, workout pants, a nice little, t-shirt?
okay, so I'll usually wear as little of a tank top as possible. If I have to wear a tank top, I prefer to wear no shirt whatsoever. My pants, recently I started wearing pants from Born Primitive. They're a sponsor of mine. They gave me some pants, and they're amazing. So I adore them. So Born Primitive, thank you very much. I always worked out barefoot and did this barefoot forever. And then recently, Vivo Barefoot started a relationship with me, and they gave me some sneakers, and I absolutely adore them. So I've been working out in Vivos recently.
Are they like pretty thin? Because they look like they're lightweight.
Very, very lightweight. Maybe they weigh a half a pound at most. And why I love them is they're the first shoe that doesn't throw off my flow patterns. I feel like I'm wearing nothing, and I feel like they don't alter my flow in any way. That's why I never wanted to wear shoes. There's an ongoing joke with people that I'm close to in the calisthenics community where we call sneakers ankle weights.
Uh-huh.
So the Vivos are the first shoes that I ever enjoyed. Also, they look nice, so like I like them. I like them stylistically, and I love how they feel. So, if you asked me this a week and a half ago, I would have said I only work out barefoot.
Uh-huh. Well, we'll have to put those in the show notes. Both the Vivo and what was it? Born Primitive.
Yeah, Born Primitive. They gave me pants, and I absolutely adore them. They're wonderful pants. They're very comfortable. But yeah, before that, just bathing suits, anything, strange patterns on bathing suits, just whatever I like, whatever I feel comfortable in.
Yeah. Raymond, I just, I got to say that this has exceeded all of my expectations. You are, one of your philosophies is don't replicate, be uniquely yourself.
Yes.
And you have mastered that. I mean, truly, I have found this to be such a fascinating conversation with somebody that, goes by his own drumbeat and follows his own path. And I think that's one of the things to me that makes you so special and magical, and is allowing you to live this lucid, fantastic dream that you're dreaming.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we wrap
Yeah.
things up? Yeah.
So I'd like to thank some people that really were like inspirational to me in veganism. Like particularly like one of the main ones that helped me go vegan is my friend Frank Madrano, who I'm very blessed to be friends with now. He was a major influence to me. He was one of the first that got me into that. Just for seeing what he was doing, be like, oh, I could do if he could do this, then that's great. Like he's strong, he's doing all this as a vegan. So that was like my first main inspiration in veganism. I definitely have to thank Mark Liebert of Liebert Fitness, the inventor of the just dear friend of mine, and I couldn't do it without him. And also, I really want to thank David Weck, the inventor of the Bosu ball. I don't know what I'd do without the Bosu ball. He's also a dear friend of mine. I'm so grateful to those three, particularly in terms of what I do. I'm very, very grateful for their influence and their inspiration, and also the path that they've led before me. Because without Frank's trail in veganism with calisthenics and bodyweight exercises, that was a major inspiration to me. And Mark with the equalizers and David with the Bosu are just, I adore them. I really
tell people that don't know, what is a Bosu ball?
Bosu ball is the thing that I always do my handstands on. It's the blue disc you see in every gym. It's like the blue inflatable disc with the flat platform on the top. So I do all my handstands on top of that. And what I love most about that is it really, so everything that I focus on in handstands and flags is really scapula strength and the ability to elevate the scapula up like this. And really the Bosu supercharges scapula strength. So the Bosu is so essential to my shoulder health. And then really the equalizer is just like the portable P bars. And they're I adore them. I really, they're in everything I do, because I use the things that I support and that I talk about. I use them every day, and I adore them, and I love them so much.
You mentioned Frank Madrano. It's interesting because I was going to ask you about Frank, but then I was like, nah, he's not into Frank, or he didn't.
Oh, absolutely.
But because I would watch Frank, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years ago, where he would be doing stuff, and you're like, what? Like a lot of it's on a bar, right? But he's doing stuff like, and you're going, that is insane. And I was going to say, so much of what you do reminds me of Frank. It's really wild.
It's just, I followed in his path and then branched off on my own, but I'm so grateful and honored to call him a friend. And I thank him so much for the path that he laid before me, because he was a major inspiration in seeing what he had done and being like, if he can do it, then that means I can do it, and I can be healthy with veganism, and I can finally get rid of the eggs and get rid of the worry of ever going back to meat. So I really owe him a tremendous debt of gratitude.
Yeah. Right before we came on today, I've got a pull-up bar out in the garage, and nice. I was doing a couple of pull-ups, and I followed something that you said, which was, when you're doing a pull-up, just focus on bringing your elbows to your chest. Right, your ribs.
To the ribs. Yes.
Yeah, to the ribs. And it's incredible to me, just that small little hint and visualizing that made it that much more efficient and effective.
That's the beauty of so many things that people think these things are impossible, but they're really not. Once you understand, it's just little hacks. Little hacks will make all the difference. Like I said, like the main thing I do when I'm doing one-arm handstands is I'm worried about like how my ankles are. That's my main focal point, is my ankles. Yeah, certain little things like that. I mean, just something when you're on the rings, just understanding where your elbows are. It just, the tiniest things make the most profound differences.
Yeah. Well, and I can relate to that just, so I'm a big swimmer, and I have been, and I swim every morning.
Okay, nice.
And I have some sessions where I am like literally, Raymond, feel like I am flying through the water effortlessly.
Yes.
Right. And I try and like scan my whole body and figure out what's going on so that I don't lose this. Right.
Yes.
And then it seems to be, unfortunately, very elusive, and I'll have it for a couple of days and then it's not there. And I find it to be so frustrating.
If there's a way to film yourself, it would be profound. What would, like, If you can feel it, because it's crazy. The smallest little things in the way we use our body will create magic. It really will. Like, I'm sure your form is just perfect. Because I don't know, I'm a lot weaker than I used to be. Like, I'm not as strong as I was in my early 30s, but I can control more. I'm more aware of these things, and just the slightest things. It really is mind blowing.
Yeah. Well,
Rip, thank you. Seriously.
You have blown my mind, and I think that you're going to expand a lot of people's minds with with what you do and your fantastic philosophy on life. So thank you, and I really hope to meet you someday.
Yeah, I hope to too. I definitely want to get more involved in the vegan community and get out there a little bit more and just give back, because veganism's given so much to me, getting all this cruelty out of my life. So thank you. And it would be an honor to meet you. It's an honor to talk to you. You were also a large inspiration for me when I was entering into the vegan world. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're absolutely welcome. Hey, give me a PLANTSTRONG fist bump.
Thank you. And that's what I am now. I'm PLANTSTRONG. So thank you, Rip. Thank you for giving me a better way to describe this. I like that. Thank you. Yes.
I think you'll agree with me. That was truly remarkable. And yes, we may never be able to do the gravity-defying moves that Raymond can do, but the lesson from this podcast to me is always surround yourself with the people and the things that bring you light, love, and joy. I mean, what more could you want in this life, right? Okay, my cruciferous cousins, thanks so much for listening. Make sure that you visit the episode page at PLANTSTRONGpodcast.com to see some of Raymond's workout demos. In the meantime, until next time, take care of yourself and always keep it plant strong. The Plant Strong podcast team includes Carrie Barrett, Lori Kordowich, Amy Mackey, Patrick Gavin, and Wade Clark. This season is dedicated to all of those courageous truth seekers who weren't afraid to look through the lens with clear vision and hold firm to a higher truth. Most notably, my parents, Dr. Caldwell B. Esselstyn Jr. and Ann Kryl Esselstyn. Thanks for listening.